Keeping your guitar clean is important, and in this video, I'm going to share some really simple things you can do to keep that guitar looking shiny and new. Welcome back to Relax Learn Guitar. I'm Kevin, and this is Maggie May. Loving those YouTube treats. My wife Vicky's behind the camera.
Hello.
Let's get started on these tips to keep that guitar looking great. Now, you don't need a whole lot of fancy, expensive things to keep your guitar looking great. In our Relax Learn Guitar membership, had a member that reached out. This video is going to be kind of along the lines of their story. They had a 30-year-old guitar that they bought when they were young. It's been in a case and hasn't been played for a very, very long time. It might have been out of the case a little bit. But this video is going to cover things that you can do to keep your guitar, and it's more maintenance-wise. If you've got a guitar that you picked up at a yard sale or used, and it's seen a lot of use and it's pretty dirty and gunky, you might need a little more aggressive kind of cleaning and, things to do for that type of guitar. This is for those of us who kind of mostly try to play every day, but keep our guitar maintained. So some of the things I shared with our member was that this is something if you do a little bit each day, just like I kind of preach the play 15, 20 minutes a day thing, and it really adds up. Same thing when you're keeping your guitar clean. One of the best things you can do, I just use a little polishing cloth, not real fancy. I'll leave links below to our items that I've used and that I like, and if you want to check those links out in the description below, you can. This is just a simple polishing cloth, and if you just do this after you play each time, and it's really pretty much, self-explanatory. Keep the dust and the, sweat and stuff off your guitar, and it's a really simple thing to do, and just kind of wipe it down after you've played each time, and that's going to go a long, long way. Now, if you've got a little more love going on with your guitar, I just use, I don't use a polish. You can use polish on your guitars. I don't typically do that. If you do choose to use guitar polish, just make sure you follow the instructions. Are all a little different, and make sure you're not putting polish on your fretboard. We're going to talk about the fretboard here in a little bit, but the things we do to maintain our fretboard are a little different than the things we do to maintain the rest of our guitar. I simply just kind of take a clean cloth, dry washcloth, towel, something that's 100% cotton. I just dampen it a tiny bit with just regular old water, and I will just take that and kind of give it this. Not a ton, you're not, it's not like washing a car.
Drenching it.
Yeah,
No.
You don't need to get the garden hose out. You just gotta, give it kind of this. And then I just take the dry part of that same cloth and kind of go over. And you can get a lot done with just simple water and a dry cloth. Now, the other thing that I'll do, I'll get a little more detailed. So sometimes I can get a little picky. So I actually use a toothbrush, a little handy dandy. Like I told you guys, these are not real fancy, expensive tools you need here. Just use an old toothbrush, and I'll get in here by the, bridge pins, or right there on the bridge. The other thing you can do too is if you, when you change your guitar strings, just kind of give your guitar a once over. But for keeping it clean, I'll just use a toothbrush. Just make sure you're using soft bristles. I like it for that, and then also getting up here by the pegboard and the nut of the guitar. And then the biggest piece that I'll find is the sweat on my hands will get here on the neck of the guitar. So just make sure that that's really obviously a place that you really want to take special attention to, because that's where a lot of your dirt and grime is going to get. It's going to get up here where you play the most, and it's going to go to the fretboard where your fingers are. But you can have issues with sweat and stuff, or if you've been playing out by the campfire or traveling around a bit, these are things you can do to kind of keep it in tip-top shape. Now, if you've got a particularly large amount of dust on your guitar, you can check out some compressed air. That's an easy, pretty safe way to clean the guitar in case you need to really get the dust and gunk off of it before you kind of go with the, simple water, damp, and dry. So that's another thing you can do. A big piece of keeping your guitar, it's important to keep the body, obviously clean and shiny, but the more we love our guitars and play them, things are going to happen, dings are going to happen, scratches might happen, and depending on how clumsy you may or may not be, or how long you've owned your guitar. But the fretboard is really an important piece, especially kind of starting out. If you don't condition your fretboard, you're going to start seeing it look dry. It's going to look dull. You might even see, if it's really in bad shape, you can kind of see like the grain or even some lines in the fretboard. So what I recommend, if you're just playing kind of casual, that you're not a professional player out every day and in the weather and the elements, I recommend conditioning and cleaning your fretboard about twice a year. So when you are changing your guitar strings and got those off the guitar, I just do the same kind of thing. I'll take my polishing cloth and I'll just really kind of wipe down the fretboard real well, especially around the actual fret wire. And then you can use lemon oil. I have boar oil that I use, and it doesn't take a whole lot.
What is that called?
Boar oil, Bore. Yeah, and I'll leave a link down there too. It's for like woodwind instruments, but I like it for the fretboard. I forget who had told us. Many years ago, someone kind of recommended this. It doesn't take a lot. When you've got your guitar strings off, just kind of put a couple of drops on each fret, and then take that cotton cloth and rub that into your fretboard to condition it, and that'll keep it from getting dried out and just getting kind of more difficult to play, harder to slide around on, and it does affect the tone as well. So maintaining that fretboard is important. What I recommend, like I said, when you're changing your strings and you've got it all nice and naked and you can get around on things, that's a good thing to do. It's also not a bad idea, just with guitar maintenance, this isn't really about cleaning, but if you have your guitar set up about a couple times a year as well, to where the neck is being adjusted and the action's being taken care of, that's a good idea too. Those little things you do really build up over time, just like dust and gunk. If you do a little bit every day, every couple of days, you're going to keep things looking nice. And another piece of guitar maintenance is a whole other subject on its own. If you want to leave a comment below, if you'd like to see me do a video about humidifiers and keeping your guitar at a humidity level that keeps it in good condition and doesn't dry it out or bog it down, just leave a comment and we can look at that as a future video. And finally, if you keep your guitar in a case, that's going to go a long way as well. If you play it, wipe it down and put it away. I do recommend that if you're really concerned or you've got a super nice guitar you want to keep shiny and new for a very long time. But I'm more on the other side of the coin where I like to have my guitar out where I can see it. That just helps me kind of notice it, pick it up easier, play it easier. Vicky's probably like, what the heck? We've got a guitar in almost every room.
Yes, we do.
That's on a stand. They're not in cases. But if you're really concerned about keeping that guitar clean and shiny, and it's one you really want to protect, then put it back in the case is always a good idea. So use those tips to keep that guitar clean, some easy things, some inexpensive things, and they'll go a long, long way. Now, I did mention earlier about taking advantage of when you change your strings to get to that fretboard. So for a lesson for how to change your guitar strings, check it out here. Remember that Vicky and Maggie and I very much appreciate your views and your support here on YouTube. And also remember, you're never too old to learn, and we'll see you at the next lesson.
Take care.